The candle died without a sigh. Not flickered, not guttered, but simply ceased, as though the flame had bowed its head and walked away into the dark. Its last breath left behind the scent of myrrh steeped in ash, thick enough to cling to the back of the throat like an old vow refused release. The blue ember of its wick remained, suspended mid-air, glowing faintly against the chapel's murk, a ghost of light that refused to fall. He did not move. His left hand still curled tight around the squire's gauntlet, cracked knuckles, worn smooth by the pressure of 1,000 nightly rituals. The initial L, engraved beneath the thumb, gleamed faint in the starlight, bleeding through shattered glass. He remembered her fingers pressing against it each night before sleep. The warmth of her palm, the slow slide of calloused skin over polished metal, the quiet inhale as she whispered his name. Not Lord, not Sir, not even husband, but Elias. Just Elias, like a secret given voice. Now the gauntlet felt colder than stone. The wind sang again. Lower this time. Slower. As if it had learned to mourn in half tones, it slipped through the hollow ribs of St. Ilara's statue and stirred the mobile above the tomb. Not one bell rang, not one. Each bronze tear hung trembling but silent, braided hair frozen mid-sway, yet their silence was louder than any chime. A soundless choir holding its breath. Inside the tomb she lay uncovered, not draped in linen or silk, but in veils of woven shadow that curled and uncurled like living smoke against her skin. The curse had claimed her limbs now. Violet veins traced the hollows beneath her collarbones and spiraled down her arms, bloomed across her thighs like ink spilled into water. Each pulse carried a whisper. Her heartbeat, yes, but also the demon's hunger, slow and deliberate, drinking upward through the channels of her blood. At her chest, pressed flush against sternum, rested the sigil, the shattered shield, forged not from iron nor steel, but from fused bones of 11 fallen knights who had loved too well. Each fracture in its surface glowed with ember light, each rift a mouth breathing in the violet venom, exhaling memory. The sigil did not rest upon her, it consumed. With every breath she drew, it pulled the curse upward into its core. With every sigh he released, it fed on him, siphoning warmth and then voice, then scent and then name. He had stood here for days, or weeks. Time had ceased to mark itself in sunrises or candle marks, but in the slow graying of his flesh. His left arm, the one not clutching the gauntlet, had begun its transformation first, a mottling at the wrist, like frost creeping over glass. Then the forearm, then the elbow. The skin grew thin, translucent. Veins beneath turned silver, then faint, and then vanished. He could see the tendons now, the bones, the slow pulse of his own blood, but dimmer than before, as if something had begun to drink it from within. He had not wept since the squire's last breath, not when the 10th night collapsed mid-prayer, his tongue blackened, eyes wide, as if still seeing heaven. Not when he found his youngest page curled beneath a broken arch, clutching a half-eaten apple and whispering, "She smiled at me today." Even as the violet threads crept into her eyelids, he had knelt. He had prayed. He had cut open his palm and pressed it to every altar, bleeding upon lilies choked with roots, and spilling tears into crystallized pools, whispering oaths into hollow chests where wingless things nested. But none of it mattered, because the demon did not wish to be destroyed. It wished to be remembered, and love, the purest, most stubborn kind, was its perfect vessel. The sigil pulsed, a deep, resonant throb beneath his wife's skin. Her breath slowed. He knew then this was the final descent. The curse had reached her heart. If he stepped away now, if he turned and walked out into the wind, the veils would tighten like nooses around her lungs. She would die as all the others had, quietly, tenderly, with a hand still reaching for his. But if he stayed, if he touched her, the sigil would devour him whole. He lifted his right hand, fingers bare, skin already gray at the knuckles. No hesitation, no prayer. He pressed his palm flat against the center of the sigil, cold. Not the cold of stone, nor frost, but the chill of absence, the hollow where a soul had once been. And then it pierced him. A lance of heat split his sternum open. not from without, but from within. He felt the bone crack, felt the cartilage splinter as if carved by unseen hands. A scream rose in his throat, but did not leave his lips. It echoed instead through the chapel stones, through the hollow ribs of Saint Alara, through every silent bell above. His breath caught, and then release. Memory flooded out from him like wine poured into a chalice, too small to hold it. First, the scent of lavender in her hair on their wedding night, the way she had laughed when the priest mispronounced union as unison, and how he had kissed her temple twice just to hear her giggle again. Second, the morning she woke with snow dusting her lashes, curled against his chest, murmuring that winter felt like peace wrapped in silk. Third, the day she found him weeping over a letter from his father, the one he never showed anyone, and instead of asking why, she took his face between her palms and said, "You are more than what you carry. You are who you become when no one watches." He remembered the weight of her head against his shoulder as they walked through the orchard after rain, the sound of her humming off-key while stitching threadbare cuffs, the way she would touch his sword hilt each morning before he left, just once, fingertip lingering like a benediction. Each memory, bright and tender, dissolved into the sigil, and in its place, something darker took root, a hunger, a knowledge, an understanding that did not speak but sang. You loved her so much you became her death, and now she will live because you ceased to be. He gasped, not for air, but for release. His heart beat once, then twice, then silence. The rhythm shifted, no longer his own pulse. Hers? Slow, faint, violeted douche. He felt the sigil's edge carve into his ventricle, fusing bone to bone, memory to hunger, love to monstrosity, and his skin, his very flesh, began to unravel. Gray spread from his fingers upward, across chest, across throat. His beard, once thick and dark, turned ashen. His eyes dulled, not with age, but with surrender. He looked down at himself and saw the hollows where muscle had been, the bones beneath now visible as stained glass under moonlight. The gauntlet in his left hand began to crumble, metal flaking into dust, and the engraved L fading like a forgotten prayer. He did not mourn, not yet, because he felt her breath, lighter now, softer, barely there, but there. Her fingers twitched, one tremor, then another, and then a whisper so faint it might have been the wind's last sigh. Elias. His voice answered before he could think to speak, not his own tone, but layered, deepened by the voices of 10 knights who had bled for her before him, each vow woven into the fabric of his soul. I will endure. I will become. I will carry your name when my bones turn to ash. He leaned forward, forehead pressed to hers, no breath between them now, no space. The sigil blazed, not red, not violet, but white-hot as a dying star given voice. The light filled the chapel, washing over broken arches and staining the frost-slick floor with halos of gold and indigo. The mobile above stirred at last, not from wind, but from the resonance of his soul. Every bell chime, not in sequence, but as one, a single note, pure, aching, perfect. And then it stopped. The silence that followed was not empty. It was full, full, with every whispered promise he had ever made. Every kiss pressed to her temple. Every night spent watching her sleep, as if afraid the moment she woke, he might vanish. Behind him, the chapel doors groaned shut, not from weight or wind, but because they recognized the sacredness of what now stood within. Not a man, and nor a monster, but something between, a vessel carved by devotion and filled with hunger. Her chest rose, one more time. Slow, deliberate. And beneath his palm, within the sigil's core, he felt it. The shift, not just her soul steadying, but his dissolving. His left hand, the one holding the gauntlet, had nearly vanished. Only a ghost outline remained, like a shadow cast by something already departed. He opened his mouth to speak, to beg, to thank, to say her name again. Elias, my love, my truth. But the sound did not come from his lips. It rose from the sigil, from the tomb, from every broken saint, every fallen knight, every bell still trembling in the dark. His voice was no longer his own. It was a chorus of sacrifice, a covenant spoken by 11 dead hearts now beating as one. Let me be what you need. And then, the wound in his chest did not bleed. It bloomed. Not with blood, but with light, brighter than the first dawn after the fall. Vines of gold and violet spilled outward from the sigil, threading through his translucent form like roots, finding stone. They reached her skin, her lips, her eyelids, the hollows beneath her eyes, her fingers, and as they touched, her breath came full and deep, a sigh that lifted dust from ancient floors and stirred the frozen blue ember of the candle into flame again, and sent the last whispering wind racing through the chapel's ribs like a returning choir. She moved, just once, one hand bare and trembling, reached up slightly and brushed the edge of his jaw. Where her fingertip touched skin that had ceased to be flesh, it left behind not warmth, but presence. He turned his head against her touch, and for the first time since he entered this place, he smiled. Not with lips, not with eyes, but in the quiet space between heartbeats, where the sigil pulsed, like a second soul now woven into hers, and where, deep within the hollow of his chest, something began to grow again. Not memory, not sacrifice. Something new, something waiting,